Hey guys, so in this video the first concept I'm going to go over is converting mass of something to moles of something, which is something we do a lot in chemistry. This got engraved into my head very early on. I don't think I could forget it if I tried, which is a good thing. So the first thing we need to know is that relationship between mass to moles, because just like in the other video where I talked about atoms to molecules, or atoms and molecules to moles and vice versa, we have to know that relationship between the two things that we are converting from and going to. So the formula that I use is number of moles is equal to the mass over the molar mass. Now mass it has to be in grams. There is no other option. If you're given a mass that is not in grams, you will need to convert it to grams before you can properly work the problem. You need to make sure that you're talking about grams for this formula to work, because molar mass is always in grams per mole. So look, when we divide G, so if I divide G over grams per mole, because I have G on the top and G on the bottom, it goes away and I'm left with moles. So that's the reason it has to be in grams. So I'm going to work an example just to kind of show you what the feel is. Now remember, if it's not in grams, we need to convert it to grams. So in this case, I'm going to do one that is in grams. So let's say I have 53.5 grams of sodium chloride, and I want to know how many moles that is. Okay, now if this was in kilograms, I would need to change it to grams. If it was in milligrams, I would need to change it to grams. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I need to plug the numbers I have and put them in the formula. Well, what do I have? Well, I have a mass, right? This G, grams, lets me know that that is a mass. So I looked at my formula, where can I plug mass in? Well, I can plug it up there. So 53.5 grams over, and then I put moles here because that's what I'm trying to find. That's what I don't know. Alright, down here, what goes here? Molar mass. How do I find the molar mass? Well, I have to look at the compound. My compound is sodium chloride. How do I find the molar mass of sodium chloride? Well, it's fairly easy if you have a periodic table in front of you. So sodium is one element, chloride is the other. So you go to the periodic table and you look for sodium and you look for the mass. So the mass of sodium is about 35.45, and I got that straight from the periodic table. Do the same for chlorine. It's about 22.99. Okay, now how many sodiums do I have? Well, there's an understood one there and an understood one here, so that means I have one. There's an understood one here, so that means I have one of each. Now it could be that there's a 2 there, or a 2 here, or a 2, or any other number, and in that case you would take the molar mass and multiply it by however many sodiums you have or however many chlorines you have. Once you've done that, you add those totals together. So you add up all the sodium and you add up all the chlorine. So if I add these two numbers together, I get about 58.44 grams per mole. Okay, so now I have the molar mass. So I go back to my formula and I plug that in. So 58.44 grams per mole. Then it's really easy. This cancels, so I'm left with moles, which means I'm going to get my answer, which is great. And then I just divide, and I'm going to get about 0.9154. And just me personally, now you have to keep in mind significant figures and all that, especially if that's what your instructor wants you to do. Normally when I write answers in moles, I go to about 4 places after the decimal. Usually it's going to be a small decimal number because it's really small. We're talking about things that are small. So when we do moles, you're probably going to have a decimal answer, and always, like I said, go about 4 places. But if your teacher specifies they want you to use significant figures, then I recommend you look up, you can Google the rules for that and make sure that you use the right amount. Okay, so that is mass to moles. Now we can do the exact opposite and go from moles to mass using a similar method. Okay, so if I want to go from moles to mass, I use that same conversion factor, which is that equation. So moles is equal to mass in grams over molar mass, which is g moles. Okay, so let's say that I have 0.235 moles of potassium chloride, and I want to know how many kilograms that is. So I threw a loop in there. We worked with grams last time, so we're going to have to do an extra step because that's not in grams. Okay, so let's plug in what I have. So what do I have? Well, I have the moles, so I can put moles right here on this side of the equation. Do I have the mass? No, that's what I'm trying to find, right? I'm trying to find the mass in kilograms. So I'll just leave that blank. I can put X, whatever floats your boat. And then down here, you're going to put the molar mass. Well, again, we have to find the molar mass of potassium chloride. So we do the same thing as before. So we go to the periodic table.